The Wall Street Journal in this article is calling, or at least saying out loud, that maybe Caitlin Clark's civil rights are actually being violated. Is her right to a peaceful workplace, a non-hostile work environment, are those rights being violated by the
What started as a debate about tough defense in the WNBA has spiraled into something far more serious. The conversation is no longer about rookie hazing or physical play. Instead, it's about negligence, liability, and a potential civil rights crisis. When a publication as serious as the Wall Street Journal starts openly questioning if the league is fostering a hostile work environment for its brightest star, Caitlin Clark, you know this has transcended sports. This is no longer a debate for fans and commentators. It's a potential legal time bomb that carries the power to jeopardize the entire future of the WNBA.
All of y'all who said we were exaggerating, Caitlin Clark's not getting fouled, bruh, it's to the point where we have this going on. We're talking, now there's articles about her civil rights being like thrown out. It is crazy. It is crazy.
The moment the conversation truly shifted was when the Wall Street Journal published its now famous article. It wasn't just another opinion piece. It was a legal warning shot fired across the bow of the WNBA. The piece introduced a terrifying legal concept into the discourse: a hostile work environment. In the legal world, this refers to a workplace where pervasive harassment, intimidation, or offensive behavior is so severe that it interferes with an employee's ability to do their job. For an athlete, the court is their office. The suggestion is that the pattern of physical aggression against Clark isn't just part of the game. It's a sustained campaign of workplace misconduct that the league is failing to stop. This single article reframed every hard foul and off-ball shove, forcing the public to view them not as isolated incidents, but as pieces of evidence in a much larger and far more damaging case against the league itself.
Caitlin Clark, the Department of Justice, and quite possibly the President of the United States himself. Somebody got to say it, so I'm going to say it. But one thing I will not do is take credit for this. I am looking at the Wall Street Journal. The author of the article is a guy by the name of Sean McLean. Let me read to y'all the opening couple of graphs, because I want you to hear the impact of this. This is serious.
This case is built on a mountain of video evidence. This isn't just a welcome to the league moment that every rookie endures. This is a documented pattern of aggression that looks less like defense and more like a systematic hunt. It began with the infamous Kennedy Carter hip check, a blatant non-basketball play away from the ball that sent shockwaves through the sports world. But that was just the beginning. Soon after, a flagrant foul from Angel Reese saw her wind up and strike Clark in the head. Beyond these headline-grabbing moments is a constant barrage of uncalled shoves, bruising screens, and off-ball targeting designed to intimidate and injure. When compiled, these clips paint a disturbing picture of a player being treated not as a competitor, but as a target.
For a lot of y'all not honest with yourselves, I've been telling y'all, it's all documented from this season, and I've pulled up clips from last season. We obviously see the targeting. We obviously see the jealousy. We obviously see the hatred. We see it all. Whether you're going to be honest or not, we see it. Y'all can't come with this excuse of, oh, it's just physical. Bro, Caitlin had like majority of the flagrant fouls last season. Most of them went.
The fouls themselves are only half of the story. The other half is the baffling inaction of the referees. On the court, the officials are supposed to be the arbiters of fairness and safety. Yet, when it comes to Caitlin Clark, the whistles seem to have a mysterious blind spot. Plays that would draw an immediate foul for any other player are routinely ignored. This selective enforcement does more than just allow the physical play to continue. It actively encourages it. When players realize there will be no consequences for targeting the league's biggest draw, it sends a clear message. The rules don't apply here. This fuels the growing theory that this isn't a simple case of bad officiating, but a systemic failure to protect a player, leaving her dangerously exposed.
WNBA, y'all are in trouble. I told y'all, y'all didn't want to protect my precious CC. Now y'all getting hit with a civil lawsuit for targeting. You hear me? And then this stuff is documented. That don't even make no sense from players just speaking freely, thinking that they won't have no consequences. That means somebody had them on the payroll. You know what I'm saying? She done had 4 injuries within like a month and a half. Disgusting.
That failure extends all the way to the top. In the face of this escalating crisis, WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert has been conspicuously quiet. The league's response has been timid and reactive, typically involving small fines or upgrading a foul severity long after the fact and only after immense public outcry. This stands in stark contrast to how other major sports leagues operate. The NFL and NBA have built virtual fortresses around their marquee players, understanding that protecting their stars is paramount to protecting their brand. The WNBA's hands-off approach sends a chilling message to both its players and its audience. It suggests a leadership that is either completely indifferent to the safety of its main attraction, or even worse, complicit in the culture that allows it.
Oh man, oh man, oh man. So, I don't really talk about politics, but once politics enter my world, my rule is, I say this, we gotta talk about it. So politics are coming to our world, my world, sports, and now in Caitlin Clark's world, which is so unfortunate. I feel sorry for Caitlin Clark because she's a pawn of this whole thing, and I think Caitlin Clark needs to speak up. I'm tired of her being silent.
This culture is being actively defended by some of the league's old guard. The argument that Clark simply needs to earn her stripes is starting to sound less like advice and more like a thinly veiled excuse for hostility. Comments from veterans like Diana Taurasi, who warned that reality is coming for Clark before she ever played a professional game, set a toxic tone from the start. Others, like Cheryl Swoops, have made a series of critical remarks that feel less like objective analysis and more like gatekeeping. This rhetoric, broadcast across podcasts and television, doesn't just express an opinion, it gives a green light to the players on the court, validating their aggression as a necessary part of a welcome that looks more and more like a targeted campaign of resentment.
How bad? You know how bad and nasty things gotta be for the Wall Street Journal to talk about going after y'all for her civil rights being violated? Do you know how bad it has to get? That's how nasty things have become. And you guys like to sit there and make it seem like we're making things up. We're not making nothing up. Kathy Engelbert treats Caitlin Clark like she's a headache and a disservice to the league.
The obvious question is, why? The answer appears to be rooted in a deep-seated jealousy that extends beyond the basketball court. Caitlin Clark didn't just join the WNBA, she revolutionized its entire economy overnight. She arrived with multi-million-dollar endorsement deals from brands like Nike and Gatorade, flies on private jets chartered by a team sponsor, and commands a level of media attention the league has never seen. The Caitlin Clark effect has led to record viewership, sold-out arenas, and a massive surge in merchandise sales, benefiting everyone. However, for some within the league who have toiled for years in relative obscurity, her unprecedented individual success isn't seen as a rising tide lifting all boats. It's seen as a spotlight they feel has been unjustly stolen from them.
And that's understandable, because there have been fantastic players in the WNBA for a long time. But Caitlin didn't disparage them. She just came in and kind of changed the game with her style. So I think it's one of those things where you have to say, okay, maybe I don't think it's fair based on the previous women who have been in this league, but it's not Caitlin's fault. All she's done is elevate the game for all of us. And I think instead of being pissed off about that, you should be.
This resentment is tangled up in the uncomfortable realities of race and privilege. Clark's identity as a young, white superstar in a predominantly black league has undeniably become a focal point of the discourse. The narrative has been twisted by some to suggest that the outcry over her treatment is simply a case of fans wanting to protect the white girl. This is a dangerous and disingenuous deflection. It deliberately ignores the on-court evidence and instead weaponizes race to shut down legitimate conversations about player safety. True progress means demanding accountability for dangerous play, regardless of the race of the players involved. Using identity politics to excuse physical assaults is a disservice to the sport and everyone in it.
Kathy Engelbert, where are you? Where are you, Kathy? Nowhere to be found. You are quiet. Quiet as a mouse. It done got real spooky, I know. Nightmare on Elm Street.
Throughout this firestorm,
Freddy
Caitlin
Krueger
Clark
style.
herself has maintained a calculated and professional silence. In every post-game interview, she methodically downplays the incidents, repeating that physicality is just part of the game, and that she doesn't pay attention to the outside noise. But this stoicism puts her in an impossible position. On one hand, she is trying to rise above the drama and be seen as a tough competitor. But on the other, her refusal to call out the aggression could be seen as enabling it. If the victim won't complain, it gives the league and its players cover to continue the behavior. She is trapped. Speak out and risk being labeled a soft complainer, or stay silent and continue to absorb the punishment.
Game serious. You don't have no integrity. You hear me? You allowing these assaults on my precious CC, but you have your favoritism when it comes to certain other players who not even the face of the league. They just hoopers. They ain't bring no awesome revenue. They ain't bring no awesome viewership. They ain't bring y'all out of the shadows to the mainstream. Now we see everything that's been going on.
But the world outside her silence is getting louder. This story has officially broken containment from the sports world. It's no longer just a topic for ESPN debate shows. It's being discussed on mainstream news networks and by political commentators. When people who don't typically follow sports start weighing in on workplace safety and hostile environments within the WNBA, the league's brand damage becomes catastrophic. It is no longer a sports story. It has become a national conversation about fairness, jealousy, and professional ethics, and the WNBA is being cast as the villain in its own Cinderella story.
Maybe WNBA leadership should at least have to go sit in front of some people and answer some very uncomfortable questions. Lord knows I would love to see that. Because Kathy Engelbert and Adam Silver, it seems to be nothing to see here. Please move.
The financial stakes of this crisis are staggering. The WNBA is in the midst of a once-in-a-generation financial boom, and it's almost entirely attributable to Caitlin Clark. Ratings are up by triple-digit percentages. Teams are moving games to larger NBA arenas to accommodate the massive crowds she draws. Her jersey became the top-selling draft pick jersey in history for any sport. The league is standing on a mountain of gold that she built. By allowing their biggest asset to be treated like a human piñata, they are playing a reckless game with their newfound fortune. Sponsors and broadcast partners invest in growth and positive narratives, not in a league that seems intent on destroying its own golden goose.
There comes a point where people have to use the brain that God gave them and understand that before you write an article, you really need to think about what you're writing. You really need to take a step back, or roll your chair back, open your eyes, and realize that what you write, you might not want to write. It's like an email response to something that you have happen at work. Write it, delete it, and then take a.
This all leads to the most serious question of all. Could a lawsuit actually happen? The answer is a resounding yes. The legal grounds are surprisingly solid. A case could be built on negligence, arguing that the WNBA and its officials have systematically failed in their duty to provide a safe work environment as mandated by law. Clark's team could present a reel of uncalled fouls and dangerous plays as evidence of a persistent, hostile environment that the league was aware of but refused to address. This is not a far-fetched fantasy. It is a genuine legal threat that could result in a landmark lawsuit, setting a powerful precedent for player protections across all professional sports and potentially costing the WNBA millions.
I know she's trying to be like this Gandhi figure, try to be like MLK, passive aggressiveness, but peaceful. I get it. But I think it's time for Caitlin Clark to speak up for herself. She needs to speak up for herself because she's allowing these people like senators talk about her civil rights are being violated, which is
ultimately, this entire saga has become a battle for the soul of the WNBA. This is bigger than Caitlin Clark. It is a defining moment that will shape the league's identity for decades. Will it mature into a professional organization that protects its players and embraces its historic moment in the spotlight? Or will it allow itself to be consumed by the petty jealousies and resentments that are playing out so violently on the court? The future of the league hangs in the balance. The clock is ticking, the world is watching, and the choices they make in the coming weeks will determine whether the WNBA's legacy is one of empowerment and growth, or one of a golden opportunity tragically squandered.